Welcome, one and all, to the 30th episode of the Totally Awesome Podcast, the TAP podcast. So bad, it might make you tap out. And if you don't get the joke behind that by the 30th episode now, then there's genuinely no hope for you. I'm your host, JoshAgeddon, as always, and since this is the 30th episode, I figured that I might as well do something special. Today, we're going to be diving into the rabbit hole, as it were. There's an ant on my microphone, so I hope that shut up. Okay, I love it when there are bugs in my room. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to be diving down the rabbit hole a little bit here. This is going to be a history lesson on all things TAW. I'm honestly just going to talk about like the origins of my YouTube channel, my wrestling show, where I got the inspiration, how I evolved, yada yada yada. Basically, a beginning to middle to now-ish kind of deal, with some dumb stuff in between, just like always. So strap yourselves in. I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but just like with every TAP, it's going to be really awful. And and another thing, my McAfee protection has apparently ended. Thanks, laptop. I hate you too. All right, so let's rewind the clock, shall we, to the year 2012. 2012, well, actually 2010. Okay, 2012 is where it starts, but 2010 is a little bit of context. Context for this is, I'm a huge wrestling fan. Duh. I've been a wrestling fan since 2010. 2010 was, of course, the year I got into wrestling, and it was because of my Uncle Doug, my favorite uncle. I love all my uncles, but my Uncle Doug is my favorite one. Shout out to you, Uncle Doug, if you listen to this. But yeah, he got me into wrestling, and I've been hooked on it ever since. I remember the first wrestling match I ever watched was Goldberg versus Kevin Nash at Starrcade 97. And I know what you're thinking. Well, no, it was Starrcade 98. The one with the cattle prod. It was Starrcade 98. And I know what you're thinking. If that was the first match you ever watched, how are you still a wrestling fan? Because I was a kid, and I thought a dude getting electrocuted in the middle of a match was the coolest thing ever. But if I had known the context or understood the context, yeah, I might not have been a wrestling fan after that. But that interested me, and I kept watching, much to my mom's chagrin. And here we are. So, I have a thing where whenever there's something I like, whether it be Dragon Ball or wrestling or Sonic or whatever, I have to put my own spin on it. I have to be involved in some capacity because I have ideas all the time. I'm a very creative person, and I don't say that in an arrogant way. I have like overflowing thoughts and ideas all the time, which my overwhelming thoughts are pretty much my sleep paralysis demon. So, I was like, what if I had a wrestling show? And thus began our epic and stupid journey. So, in 2012, I was just getting into YouTube. This was back, every Dragon Ball fan has this back in the day where they didn't have the entire show, and they didn't really have it on TV. They just knew about it and they've seen a little bit of it. They had more games than the actual show, or they had a friend who had the games, so they would look up YouTube clips with even less context, but they would have so much fun watching the clips. Like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? I remember to this day when I was a little bit after I got into Dragon Ball Z, that I was on my crappy old computer, the old computer with the back, the big computer. Yeah, I used to have dial-up. It was a big dial-up computer. And if you do not know what dial-up is, you are too young for this podcast. So my big dial-up computer, I remember watching the almost watching the part where Frieza gets cut in half by the Kienzan. I remember watching that, except on my stupid dial-up computer in the kitchen. I had to rewind it every few minutes because it kept buffering, because it's a dial-up computer. Of course, most of your time on there is going to be buffering. So yeah, that was pretty much my experience with YouTube. Watching parts of videos and maybe not even getting to watch them. I would spend an entire hour on one video, like a 10-minute or 5-minute video, because it would buffer so much. And I remember one of the first matches I watched all the way through was Randy Orton versus John Cena in that tables match on Raw in 2010. It took me forever to get through that match because, again, I had to keep rewinding it and waiting for it to load and load and load and load. But yeah, so in 2012, that while I was still on this, my interest, and there's a now and now there's a gnat. Why are there bugs in my room? Anyway, I'm gonna get easily distracted. I might actually at one point. I've already punched the microphone once because I was trying to hit an ant. I might actually get up and leave and get a fly swatter, and you're gonna get to listen to me swat gnats and flies in my room. And I hope that's entertaining for you. But yeah, 2012, that was how I operated on YouTube. I'd wait and watch videos. And sometimes I'd just watch videos at school back, because, schools, they have really fast internet connection. And it would always blow my mind whenever it didn't take 3 hours for one page to load. So, I was just looking up wrestling games. And I don't remember what I looked up, but I remember the first thing. Oh, and now I have an email. Great, thanks, FastWeb. I hate Gmail. This is such a uncoordinated, discombobulated podcast, and I apologize for none of it. Anyway, so I was just looking up random video game wrestling stuff on YouTube one day, and I came across a match that said, Frieza versus Darth Maul, Hell in a Cell. And I was like, what is this? And why is this? And I'm going to watch it, but why am I watching it? And it was actually really funny. It was very entertaining. I believe Darth Maul won the match by giving Frieza a Russian leg sweep through the ceiling of the cage, which I still remember that to this day. That's how far back my memory goes at times. I have a terrible memory except for the most random things. I remember the most random things. Darth Maul winning the match with a Russian leg sweep at the top of the cell that broke through the cell. That's one of the random things I remember from like almost a decade ago. I don't know how my brain works. God had fun when he was making my brain. So, yeah. So I was watching that match, and it was from a channel called The Magnation. Now, anybody who watches my channel, or like some of my longtime viewers, probably a lot of my viewers, know about The Magnation. The Magnation is one of the most successful CAW organizations, or at least the ones that got the most subscribers, because they have right now they have like 18,000 subscribers, which is ridiculous for any CAW E-Fed channel. And so I was interested, and they kept watching their videos, and they kept putting out videos, but it wasn't so much the wrestling that I enjoyed. It was more the commentary, because you had Magnitude, Trevor, Pat James Regan, Packard, The Shadow, and they were all hilarious. The chemistry between these guys was absolutely insane. And I was a huge fan of theirs for a long time. Probably to the point where I made them uncomfortable. I guarantee you, I gave off creepy stalker fan vibes at several points. But I love their stuff. But again, this gave me an idea. I wanted to have my own wrestling show. But first, I had to have a YouTube channel. So, let's see. I have my phone, and I'm just checking some stuff. I started my channel in 2013. My YouTube channel, the one you're watching right now, started in 2013. And at the time, I didn't even like understand what having a YouTube channel really meant. I was just like, I'm just gonna make a couple videos. And at the time, I still wanted to have my wrestling show. But I didn't have the idea of, I could just have a wrestling show on YouTube. I wanted a wrestling show, but at the time, I just didn't put two and two together because I'm dumb. So, but I still wanted to make videos. And most of the videos I made had to do with the Magnation. So I think my first video ever was the Magnation top 25 finishing moves. And to this day, for God knows what reason, it is one of the most viewed videos on my channel. It has over 1,100 video views. And I don't know how. And then I also made a video called The Magnation's Funniest Moments Volume 1, which has 1,500 plus views. And the Funniest Moments Volume 1 is the second most viewed video on my entire channel. And by my God, these two videos are some of the worst YouTube videos I've ever seen. They are by far the worst videos on my channel. But I kind of can't take them down because they have so many views, and they're my first videos, so it's a... This was way before I had a clue how to edit. At the time, I thought they were awesome, and they were well received. And the only reason why they have so many views is because they were piggybacking off the Magnation, because the Magnation usually got that many views. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how you get famous on YouTube. Not by making original stuff, but by piggybacking off of other famous people. That's how you get noticed on YouTube. That's how you get the views, because the world we live in sucks. But anyway, so yeah, I made the top 25 favorite finishing moves video and the funniest moments videos, and they're awful. At the time, I loved them. They were more they weren't a, I'm going to make a good, entertaining video. This was a, I love this channel. These guys, I think, are entertaining. I'm making this video for them as a gesture of, I like you guys, so I made a video about you guys. Again, stalker fan vibes. I was not joking. I was a weird kid. So if you want to go back and watch those videos, please don't, because they're so bad. I mean, the Magnation top 25 finishing moves, halfway through, the audio just cuts off. Not even joking. And this was, again, back before I knew how to edit. This was back before I even knew how to record properly. I swear to God, the video is literally just cut-ups of me pointing my camera at the screen of my crappy laptop and recording that. Yes, this was back when I recorded screens, which I cannot stand the sight of now, but I guess that means I have grown up in some capacity. I've matured somewhat. My sense of humor is probably deteriorated, but in some areas I've grown as a person, and I'm proud to say that. But yeah, it's even worse. Like, at least in the top 25 Magnation finishing moves, you have music in the background for like the first couple minutes, and then it just goes silent, because that's how good of an editor I was back then. But the funny moments video is, in my opinion, the worst video on my channel. It is atrocious. Everything you could do wrong for a video is done wrong. I mean, for one, I'm recording the screen with my phone, I think it was an iPod. I can't remember what it was. It was a long time ago. But I was recording the screen, so there was an awful glare. You could see me in the background recording. You could see the lights in the background on. And the worst part is... Actually, there's two worst parts. This old computer with the back, that was the dial-up computer that was in my kitchen, that was my only access to the internet back then. And you would know this if you have this kind of computer. It makes a loud beep, like a loud C-note noise. You know, like when your ears are ringing, it makes that noise. Except it wouldn't stop, because that was the fan inside the computer just trying to cool down the computer because the computer was on. And it was just this constant C-note that just would never shut up. And in the Funny Moments video, you hear that throughout the entire runtime of the video, pretty much. And also, the absolute worst part of that video is, this makes me cringe profusely every time I even think about it, is that, again, I was recording the screen, and my computer was not very, very loud. I had one speaker, and it wasn't very loud. So I would have to as I was recording, I would have to hold up the speaker next to the phone so the phone could hear what was going on in the video. And for some reason, I wasn't smart enough to put the speaker behind the phone. So in the shot is the speaker next to the screen that I'm trying to record. Half the screen, half of the picture is the speaker blowing noise into the phone, and it looks genuinely awful. Go back and watch those videos if you want to cringe profusely. They're that bad. They are the worst videos on my channel. I know why they have views. I hate that the Funny Moments video, the worst video on my channel, is the second most viewed video I've ever made. That just pains me. It used to be the most viewed video I've ever made, but right now my Devil May Cry AMV music video thing, the 1 through 5 Devil Trigger music video, which I think has like 7,000 something views, is my number one most viewed video. And that's fine. That's an actually well done, well edited video. So I'm fine with that one. I'm proud of that video. I go back to watch that video every night. You know you've done a good video when you yourself go back to watch it every now and then. If you go back and you cannot stomach watching a video that you have made, that's when you know you probably shouldn't have made it. And I very much regret making those two videos. But those were two of my first videos. So then I started just dabbling around in just random videos. I made random weird moments from WWE 13. I made some random... I remember I made X-Pac versus Broly in WWE 13 for some reason, and it's just a match that I decided to do. And I'm not. It's not using software. It's not using my HD PVR. It's me holding a camera against my TV as it's being played. So it's back in the Stone Age, essentially. So, and then I also had other matches, like a Hell in a Cell match, which I actually remember being pretty funny. I haven't watched in a long time, mostly because it looks awful. And a championship scramble match for a joke, I was like, this will be funny, and I recorded the match. So I dropped the controller mid-recording on purpose so I could lose immediately for a joke. And I still think the concept of that joke is funny. I just think that it's just... everything surrounding that joke is just awful. And it was for the Extreme Championship, which is something I kept going in TAW UCT, because in UCT, the Extreme title is the second biggest title. So I kept the name from this stupid video I made almost 10 years ago. And I just kept making... okay. You think I was a creepy stalker fan of the Mag Nation? I'm not going to mention any of their names. But if they ever find this, they'll know exactly who I'm talking about. I had 4 cheerleader friends in high school. Because in high school was when a lot of this was going on. But in high school, I had 4 cheerleader friends. One of which I had a huge crush on. For some reason, I even think it's creepy saying it out loud. For some reason, I thought it would be hilarious to create the 4 of them in a wrestling game and have them wrestle each other in an Extreme Rules match and put it on my YouTube channel. Yep. I created versions of my 4 friends in WWE 13 and had them fight each other. Or 2K14, I can't remember. And they were creeped out. The guys, like the jocks, thought it was absolutely hilarious. They loved it. My jock friends loved it. The cheerleaders were creeped out. And in retrospect, probably one of the creepiest things I've ever done. I want to go back in time and just slap younger me. And you can tell that I feel this way because if you try to find that video on my channel now, you're not going to find it because I deleted it. It is gone. It is not unlisted. It is not private. It is gone because just what is wrong with me? I have serious issues, and high school me was weird. Especially, I grew up a little bit in 11th grade. I just matured a little bit. But pre-11th grade, before 11th grade, I was a weird person. I'm still super weird, but I was creepy weird before 11th grade. At least in my own estimation. So, yeah, that happened. That happened. I told you we were going down the rabbit hole in this one. But yeah, so I was making wrestling matches, and I was watching the Mag Nation. I was obsessed with the Mag Nation. I loved watching their stuff. And then, this is around the time that I met Sean McCarty, the colonist, who I have had on this podcast, my show, and actually wrestle on my show several times. And I've been on his channel numerous times. But we were both like, why don't we just make our own wrestling show? And we were both like, yeah, because we were both just bouncing ideas back and forth. And one thing I forgot. Before me and Sean started bouncing ideas back and forth, or maybe even during, my TAW wrestling show did not start until January of 2014. So my show is 6.5 years old today. But I originally wanted to start the show in December of 2013. And it was going to be on WWE 13. Thank God. Like, I hate 2K14. It's an awful game. But if I tried to do it on 13, I probably would have shot myself by now. Because 13's so much worse than 14. But anyway, that's a whole nother bag of worms. Or can of worms, whichever way the phrase goes. I don't really care. So I did a test match. Because I bought the recording software. I didn't know how to use it just yet. But this was back when I was using Autocraft Showbiz. Using that back in the day. Good Lord. But again, I didn't know how to make videos. I had the tools, I just didn't have the know-how. I knew how to record things on my phone and post that, but I didn't know how to record things the way you're supposed to, like I do nowadays. So what I did was I wanted to record and commentate at the same time a Royal Rumble match. And me and my brother recorded, and we thought we did commentary for a Royal Rumble match. And we did the entire Rumble, and I was so excited. I even made a Facebook page and everything, and I told all my friends, my first wrestling match, my first official show is going to be tomorrow, some day in 2013. And some of you might actually remember this. I remember, because I'll get to this in a second, but... So long story short, of course, I didn't even have a microphone plugged in, because I was that incompetent back in 2013. I had a microphone, but I didn't have it plugged in, or I didn't have it plugged in right, or whatever. The audio didn't record. And I was absolutely devastated. And the Shadow even asked me, I thought you said a show was going up, what happened? And I told him, I just don't know how to do it, I didn't do it right, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, oh, you'll figure it out. Just take your time. And I took his advice. Also, shout out to you, Shadow, Christopher Carligo, if you hear this. Again, old school Magnation. He briefly had his own wrestling show, Shadow Force Wrestling. I think that's what it was called. This has been a long time, but that's super old school. If you know what that is, then you have my seal of approval, because you have been to hell and back, my friend. So anyway, so I did around that when that happened, when I failed to create the first show that I wanted to with that Royal Rumble on WWE 13. This is when me and Sean McCarty started bouncing ideas back and forth, and he was like, my show's gonna be CIW, I'm gonna use an older game, and the theme is we're gonna be like the C-list, D-list show, the underdog show, and I was like, well, my show's gonna be called TAW, Totally Awesome Wrestling, and I immediately, when I was first, conceiving, it first dawned on me, hey, I could have my own wrestling show, and I could put it on YouTube, I was like, I want it to be called TAW. And so then I started having ideas. We started bouncing ideas off each other. And before I go any further, I prepared for this. Because before I get into the first official TAW video, the house... And if you've been subscribed to my channel long enough, you know what I mean by the house show era. Because that was back when I first really started doing YouTube. The birth of Totally Awesome Wrestling. So, before I get into that, I have a little bit of a surprise, something that may surprise some of you, something maybe not, I don't... Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so again, something I do whenever I'm coming up with ideas or having a lot of ideas is I write them down whenever I'm bored. So, I was in high school, so I was bored practically all the time. So, in high school, when I was brainstorming matches, I wanted to have some, even before I was like, hey, I can have a YouTube wrestling show. So before December of 2013, when I screwed up that Royal Rumble match, and before me and Sean started bouncing ideas off of each other, so back before then, I would be in random classes just writing down, oh, this would be a fun match, this would be a fun storyline, this would be a fun match, this would be a fun pay-per-view to do. I did some digging, and I found some old notes from my high school days before TAW was a thing. These are really old. These might be 10 years old. So some of them might even literally date back to 2012, 2013. Some notes that I made planning a wrestling show that I didn't even think was going to exist. And I'm going to go through just some of them. The first one I'm going to look at is the original match card for the first Riot Central, because Riot Central was my first legitimate pay-per-view. So, and you can tell, because you can hear all the uncrumpling. So the main event that I wrote down for this was back when when I was starting the channel, when I already had everything, when I started planning actual storylines. Okay, so the main event was the same as what we got. The Fatal 4-Way Elimination match for the TAW title. Joker versus Jeff Hardy versus Freddy Krueger versus Anderson Silva. That crazy Fatal 4-Way Elimination match, which in my opinion is still one of the best matches I've ever done, because it's just insane. Femme Fatale title match, Miley Cyrus versus Android 18. That still happened the way it did. I'm going to go through everything that is the same as what I had the idea for it. Hardcore title, Barack Obama versus Dracula. Although at this time, I didn't plan on having Frieza jump through the balcony to interrupt. And I think it may have been, it was Yamcha. It ended up being Yamcha versus Dracula until Frieza attacked Yamcha, stole the title, and then defeated Dracula. So at this time, it was still going to be Obama. So this is where we're starting to get into some differences. The Internet Championship was Elma versus Gohan. And this was back when I was like, okay, the Internet Championship, I should have people vote on match stipulations, but I kind of got sick of doing that. So right now, right here, it's just written down as a normal match. Elmo versus Gohan. This is where things start to get a little different. Tag Team Championship match. Team Woo Woo Woo, I'm Loving It, which of course is Zack Ryder and Ronald McDonald, versus a team that never happened, that I wanted to happen, versus Karate Combat. I'm cringing reading that. It was Team Woo Woo Woo, I'm Loving It, defending against Karate Combat. This was going to be Liu Kang and Daniel LaRusso from The Karate Kid. I originally wanted Daniel LaRusso and Liu Kang to be a tag team. That never happened because I never made Daniel LaRusso. And the pre-show was going to be Slender Man versus Daredevil for some reason. And I even wrote down the results on the other page for this. Also, another difference was the Mario-Luigi match, except it wasn't an unsanctioned match, it was a street fight. So that, of course, changed to an unsanctioned match. And this is probably the cringiest thing on here. At the original Riot Central that happened, the one that you can go watch right now, even though it kind of had the... full disclosure, Riot Central 1 has not aged well. It was back when I was still learning how to edit, so you can kind of tell here and there that I still didn't completely know what I was doing. The first molecular... Because the molecular title used to be my internet title. And it was decided in an Elimination Chamber match, and William Wallace won the title. So at Riot Central 1, it was originally supposed to be William Wallace versus Frieza for the... Not the molecular title, the Ultra Lunar Championship. That is even more cringeworthy than Karate Combat, in my opinion. The Ultra Lunar Championship... Not gonna lie, one of the reasons why I fused the molecular title and the internet title together is because I didn't really care for the name molecular and I didn't really care for the belt design. I kind of got sick of it. And I just wanted to have one secondary because I felt like I had too many belts. Ultra Lunar, I liked for like maybe a couple minutes, and then I was like, that sounds so lame. Why would you ever give a championship a space-themed name? And so I changed it to molecular. And then WWE went and named one of their world titles the Universal title because WWE is run by morons. And that's a whole other podcast you can go listen to. Listen to my podcast about why the WWE Universal title is the worst world title to ever exist in professional wrestling. Although I do think Ultra Lunar is a significantly worse name because that's literally just me jamming two words together. So yeah, if you think this is an old relic, this was back when I had, like, wrestlers ready to have matches. This was when I was ready to start doing the show. Okay, I'm about to read you some match cards from before I even had a show. And this is so old that I can't even remember what order it's supposed to be in. This is the original... The first draft of a match card for TAW Decadence, the pay-per-view. Now, I had Decadence, the pay-per-view Decadence back in 2015. The match card for Decadence that I'm holding right now in my hand, I wrote this in like 2012. So 3 years before I actually did the Decadence pay-per-view. The main event of the Decadence pay-per-view that exists now is Freddy Krueger defending the TAW Championship against Bane. That is what happened on that show. In 2012, I wrote down Freddy Krueger defending against Omega Shenron. Why or how? You can tell that this was pre-knowing that I was going to have a show. This was just purely just me vomiting ideas. Because how in the world can you make Omega Shenron in a wrestling game? How even? That was the first thing I noticed. Omega Shenron. Like, what? So yeah, the first Decadence pay-per-view was supposed to be main evented by Omega Shenron. This is from 2012, ladies and gentlemen. We also had the Joker versus Slender Man, for some reason. The tag team title match was supposed to be Sweet Tooth and Pennywise defending against the Shadow Dragons. Didn't even say which two, although I assume it would just be Nova, Shenron, and Ice. Sweet Tooth and Pennywise versus the Shadow Dragons. Can you tell I like Dragon Ball GT? There was also supposed to be a no disqualification match for the International Championship, because before I switched to Ultra Lunar, it was going to be the International Championship, but I changed that because I felt it was too close to Intercontinental. It's supposed to be William Wallace versus Android 13. Two people that are actually on the show now. And we actually did get something of that. We had, I believe at Decadence, it was William Wallace defending against Deadpool for the Molecular Championship. Okay, up next, Fatal 4-Way for the Femme Fatale Championship. Good God. Sophitia from Soul Calibur defending against Mystique from X-Men versus Asajj Ventress versus Lita. I wanted to have Sophitia on my show. Which, honestly, I still, at some point, because of this, I might just add Sophitia to the show, because I don't think she'd be that hard to make. I don't know who would know who she is, because I don't know how many people that watch my show are that aware of Soul Calibur. Okay, up next. Tables match for the Hardcore Championship. Frieza versus John Morrison. What is wrong with 2012 me? 2012 me needs to stop doing drugs. Frieza versus John Morrison. Why? Just why? Also, Jeff Hardy versus Luigi for some reason. And also a 2 out of 3 falls match for the Lightning Weight Championship. Daredevil defending against Sonic the Hedgehog. Which, again, in the actual Decadence that actually happened, the Lightning Weight title match was Sonic versus Bullseye in a ladder match, which was the finals of a tournament where Sonic was injured before the match even started. So there was actually a storyline for that. But this is what I originally wrote it down as, Daredevil versus Sonic. I originally had Daredevil be a much more instrumental part of the show, but now he's on UCT, going to be challenging for the Lightning Weight title at UCT. And the pre-show is going to be Venom and Carnage versus Android 17 and Bullseye. Why Android 17 and Bullseye? I have no idea. Ask 2012 me. And these are going to be the results. Venom and Carnage defeat Android 17 and Bullseye, because Android 17 and Bullseye probably aren't that good of a tag team, because it feels very thrown together. Asajj Ventress was going to win the Femme Fatale title. Why? Frieza was going to defeat John Morrison. Luigi was going to defeat Jeff Hardy. Daredevil was going to beat Sonic. Sweet Tooth and Pennywise were going to retain. Android 13 was going to win the international title. The Joker was going to defeat Slender Man. And Freddy Krueger was going to retain against Omega Shenron. I even wrote down by pinfall, no submissions. Oh, and I even wrote down how I wanted the 2 out of 3 falls match to go. The first fall was Sonic was going to pin Daredevil with a roll-up. The second fall was Sonic's going to get counted out. And third fall, Daredevil pins Sonic with a corkscrew splash. And Daredevil's finishing move right now is a corkscrew splash. So, interesting. Alright, up next. Okay, the name of this pay-per-view can also give you the kind of mindset that I clearly had no idea how this was going to work. Because if you watch my channel, one thing you know is I don't really have that much of a schedule, and I have pay-per-views every once in a while because it takes me forever to put a show together. This was back when I figured I was just going to do monthly pay-per-views. This was TAW Holiday Havoc. going to be a December Christmas-themed pay-per-view. The main event was a tables, ladders, and chairs match for the TAW title, Omega Shenron versus the Joker. Why Omega Shenron? Why did I have such a boner for Omega Shenron back then? I mean, I still kind of do, but wow. Also, Money in the Bank match. William Wallace defending his Money in the Bank briefcase versus Freddy Krueger. This was back when I wasn't that creative. Since I've started TAW, I had the idea, I'm not going to be like every other show and have Money in the Bank. I'm going to have a Money in the Bank-esque championship called the Excalibur title. Alright, so Lightning Weight Championship match. Luigi versus Mario. So I've always intended for Luigi and Mario to have a feud. Extreme Rules match for the International Championship. Nova Shenron defending against Ice Shenron, I called it. Tag Team Championship match. Broly and King Kong. Broly and King Kong versus Sonic and Shadow. Why do I do anything? Femme Fatale Championship match. Asajj Ventress versus Lita. Jeff Hardy versus Android 13. And a triple threat match for the Hardcore title. Jack Sparrow versus Sheldon Cooper versus Justin Bieber. Oh my god, someone please kill me now. I wrote down and was serious about having a match between Jack Sparrow, Sheldon Cooper, and Justin Bieber. Was 2012 me high when he wrote this? And also on the pre-show, I had Yugi versus Obi-Wan. I don't even watch Yu-Gi-Oh! What is the... I am embarrassed. I've never been embarrassed I've never been embarrassed just remembering things on this show before. Except for the Fatal 4-Way with my cheerleader friends. That was also kind of embarrassing. I'm not even reading the results because I don't care. I might actually burn some of these. Okay, this was going to be the original Turning Point pay-per-view. Because, you know, the Turning Point pay-per-view that we got, the main event was Hell in a Cell match, Joker versus Freddy Krueger for the TAW title. This was the original Turning Point. The main event was 3 Stages of Hell for the TAW title. Freddy Krueger versus Omega Shenron. Again, Omega Shenron! Why? I guess this pay-per-view was the November pay-per-view. The one before Holiday Havoc. God, some of these are ripped straight from TNA. Nova Shenron versus Ice Shenron in a regular match. International Championship match. Android 13 versus Abomination. Back when I wanted to have I might eventually one day have Abomination appear on TAW. I don't know how. Oh my god. Okay, my evil clown stable on TAW is called the Clown World Order. Apparently, I have a 6-man tag match written down before I figured out, hey, Clown World Order sounds awesome. How does this sound? The Evil Clown Posse versus Slenderman, William Wallace, and Jeff Hardy. I may actually kill myself after this podcast. The Evil Clown Posse? Why is 2012 me so lame? Clown World Order sounds so much cooler than this garbage. I might actually... Oh, this is even worse. Extreme Rules match for the Hardcore title. Frieza versus E.T. Why am I making Frieza wrestle these people? And how do we go from Frieza versus E.T. to Jack Sparrow, Sheldon Cooper, and Justin Bieber? What is happening? What is my life? Ugh. Okay. Number 1 contenders tag team match for the tag team titles. Venom and Carnage versus King Kong and Broly. What are the tag team champions doing on the show? Why am I this way? Okay, championship scramble match for the Femme Fatale title. Asajj Ventress versus Videl versus the Pink Power Ranger versus Sophitia versus Android 18. And on the pre-show, Blackheart from Ghost Rider versus Raven. I'm at a loss for words. Good lord. Okay. I'm only going to do, like, 2 more of these, because I'm wildly entertained right now. I'm embarrassed, I'm cringing, but this is entertaining to me. Just the idiocy. Okay, the original Perfect Storm pay-per-view. Main event. This is actually kind of close, because the main event of Perfect Storm 1 was the Joker defending the TAW title against Freddy Krueger in a last man standing match. That's what we got. What I originally wrote down was Extreme Rules match for the TAW title, the Joker versus Freddy Krueger. Although I guess I was crowning the champion in this match. I actually kept with that. Tag team titles, Jesus Christ. Karate Combat versus Venom and Carnage. I'm so glad that I never made Karate Combat a thing. I mean, I still kind of want Daniel LaRusso on the show, but I think that ship has sailed. International title, William Wallace versus Jack Sparrow. Slenderman with Ronald McDonald versus Sweet Tooth with... Why? I guess may have been the creation of the evil clown posse. That sounds so lame. Femme Fatale title, Sophitia versus Asajj Ventress. Oh god, I don't even want to read this. Hardcore Marathon Madness match for the Hardcore title, which is essentially just a 10-person gauntlet. Elmo versus Frieza versus Sheldon Cooper versus King Kong versus Patrick Star versus Ghostface versus Mr. Incredible versus Luigi. And also Broly versus Jeff Hardy. And on the pre-show, Daredevil versus E.T. So that was the original card for the first Perfect Storm. I'm glad that didn't happen, although some of it wasn't that far off. Okay, so oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna read two more. Okay, so this is going to be Turning Point 2, and yes, I've only had Turning Point 1, Turning Point 2. I still have a match card planned for Turning Point 2 in the future. So did 2012 me. I'm scared. So this was supposed to be the card for Turning Point 2. And I already know what the main event for Turning Point 2 is going to be. But so did 2012 me, apparently. The main event was going to be Liu Kang versus Broly for the TAW Championship. Interesting. Also, singles match for both the Money in the Bank contract and the International Championship. The Joker versus Johnny Cage. Who has what? I don't remember. I assume Johnny Cage has the Money in the Bank contract. Also, for some reason, Batista versus Android 13. Cole Williams versus Omega Shinron. Fatal 4-Way elimination match for the Lightning Weight title. Sonic versus Ghostface versus Ronald McDonald versus Sheldon Cooper. Championship Scramble match for the Hardcore title. Blackbeard versus Luigi versus Yugi versus Bullseye versus Android 17. And number one contenders match for the tag team title. Where are the tag team champions? Why are my tag team champions never defending the titles on pay-per-view? Why are they always MIA? I'm so glad 2012 me isn't any kind of promoter, because I would hang him from a tree outside. Frieza and Chris Jericho versus Team Sports Gods. What? This is what this says. Frieza and Chris Jericho versus Team Sports Gods. I don't even want to know. And I also have Psy versus Mario. The Gangnam Style. You can tell that this is from 2012. Because I have the Gangnam Style guy versus Mario. Yeah, this is definitely 2012. God, this is terrifying. This is like a time capsule gone wrong. And also, Femme Fatale title, Ivy from Soul Calibur versus Elektra. Honestly, with those two, it might as well be a bra and panties match, because they don't wear anything. And on the pre-show, Ice Shenron versus Obi-Wan Kenobi. So much of that is so wrong. Okay, this is the last one I'm going to look at. Mostly because the name of this pay-per-view is just the worst. Just the absolute worst. This was going to be the Thanksgiving pay-per-view. So this was going to be the November pay-per-view. How do I know that? The name of the show. Happy Slamsgiving. Happy Slamsgiving. I want to die. I actually want to die. Main event, TAW title match, Omega Shinron, I'm shocked, versus the Joker. Can you tell I've always had a boner for the Joker? Money in the Bank ladder match, Freddy Krueger, for some reason, Freddy Krueger's name is erased on this piece of paper. Versus Jeff Hardy versus Chris Jericho versus Venom versus William Wallace versus Frieza. Tag team match for the Hardcore and International Championship. Ice Shenron and Android 13 versus Nova Shenron and Jack Sparrow. Alright. Lightning Weight Championship. Luigi versus Mario. Continuing that feud that actually happened in TAW. John Morrison versus Blackheart for some reason. Patrick Starr versus Elmo for some reason. Tag Team Championship match. Finally, the Tag Team Champions are on a show, and for some reason, they're Broly and King Kong. Why? Versus Slenderman and Ghostface. Femme Fatale title match. Asajj Ventress versus Vidal. And, oh my god. Carnage versus Johnny Test. Does anyone watching this or listening to this have a clue who Johnny Test is? Wow. Just wow. And on the pre-show, Cole Williams versus Nacho Libre. Happy Slamsgiving, everybody! I'm gonna die! Okay, I'm only gonna read one more for posterity. I'm gonna look for something really embarrassing. Okay. This was going to be the original TAW Aftershock pay-per-view. Unless I find the original, what the original Riot Central was going to be. I'm going to look for that real quick. New Year's Bash. Wow, more stolen ideas. And I stapled this together. Good lord, why did I staple this together? I had a Marathon Madness match where I had 10 finishes planned. Good god. Okay, I had some skills when it came to booking. And a severe lack of skill in other respects. Good god, I have a pay-per-view called My Bloody Valentine. I wonder what holiday that's themed for. And on this one, for some reason, William Wallace is TAW champion. Alright. Rampage Stampede. What does that... A Rampage Stampede. What even is that? Pay-per-view called Maximum Velocity. The original Perfect Storm 2. Again, William Wallace is TAW champion, and I don't know why. I'm looking to see if I have an original Riot Central match card. I don't see it. Aftershock 2, where again William Wallace is challenging for the title. Aftershock 2, and I'm dropping all my papers. Pay-per-view called Hardcore Thunder. Okay, this will be the last one. This will be the last one. I have so many of these. Like, I have a ridiculous amount of these. And I might set some of them on fire. So this will be the last one. TAW Hardcore Thunder. I assume the thing is every match has a stipulation. Main event, 30-minute Iron Man match for the Money in the Bank contract. Loser leaves TAW until winner cashes in. Jeff Hardy versus the Joker. Interesting. Triple threat, tables, ladders, and chairs for the TAW Championship. Liu Kang defending against William Wallace and Broly. Steel cage match for the International Championship. Johnny Cage versus Android 13. Tornado tag team handicap match. Batista... Wait, what? Okay, I have this written down. Tornado tag team handicap match. Oh, okay. Batista versus Omega Shenron and Ice Shenron. I don't know what Batista did to piss off the Shadow Dragons. That's a sentence I never thought I'd ever say. Falls Count Anywhere tag team elimination match for the tag team titles. Android 17 and Bullseye. Oh, God! Why did I pick this one? Okay, one, why are Android 17 and Bullseye the tag team champions? And they're challenging Psy, the Gangnam Style guy, and the Fox from What Does the Fox Say? This is so 2012 it hurts. I'm literally in pain. The Fox and Psy as a tag team. I hate 2012 me. Ladder match for the Lightning Weight title. Sonic versus Nova Shenron. Extreme Rules match for the Femme Fatale Championship. Ivy versus Asajj Ventress. Inferno match. Cole Williams versus Mr. Incredible. And a tables match for the Hardcore title. Blackbeard versus Obi-Wan Kenobi. And on the pre-show, no DQ match. Mario versus Chris Jericho. Jesus. That is awful. That is awful. So yeah, those are some of my plans in 2012 for what I'm doing now. I'm glad that I gained a semblance of a clue. in my old age. I was going to have Cy and the Fox from What Does the Fox Say on this show. I would have demanded, like, if I actually went through with that, I would be right now demanding people unsubscribe from my channel. Wow. Holy crap. That was not a happy, like, that was not a happy trail going down memory lane. That was a nightmare down memory lane, oh my god. But okay, so that gives you kind of an idea of what was going on in my head when I was first coming up with this. Cy and the Fox. What is actually wrong with me? I need to get tested for something. Anyway, so, with all that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed that little detour back into the inner sanctum of JoshAgeddon before he was JoshAgeddon. Okay, so I was bouncing ideas back and forth with the colonist, Sean McCarty, and we both had an idea. He was going to make a test wrestling show specifically for me to watch and give my opinion on, and I was going to make my test show to send to him for him to give his opinion on. And this was what would go on to be the first TAW house show 1. And the first legitimate match that I ever did for TAW was Ronald McDonald versus Barack Obama. I know. I don't know what's wrong with me either. And from the outset, Sean McCarty was like, I was not expecting Ronald McDonald and Obama. And he laughed hysterically, in a good way. Although I probably did deserve a little bit of mocking. And this was also, I believe, the first show where Elmo turned heel and put the Grinch's head through a car window or something. Something to that effect. And this is what kicked off the house show era of TAW. So I stopped making these random videos, and I started actually like, okay, I'm going to have a wrestling show. So the first I think the first 5 house shows were me recording with a camera and just having it be computer versus computer. Although I do remember having William Wallace versus Slender Man on one of those house shows. I believe it was house show 3, where it was computer versus computer, and the match was so bad that I stopped recording and just started over and I recorded it myself. So I remember that vividly, because it was so bad. Like Slender Man did his finishing move, the 8 Pages neck breaker, and William Wallace kicked out at 1. And it was on 2K14 he kicked out at 1, and I almost threw up. So yeah, that was the house show era. But then at house show 6 is when I started using actual recording software. So I got better, and more time passed. I did the house show 15 pay-per-view, which had a whole bunch of crazy matches. And then the official TAW season kicked off, and I just got better and better and better. I honestly stopped watching the Magnation, and some of the people that did the Magnation are good friends of mine now, like Magnitude, Steve Wood, Trevor Nickel, PJR, The Shadow, all those guys. I love those guys. So yeah. And then I was like, I want to also do entertaining stuff. I did some Let's Play, I remember the first time I tried to do a Let's Play of Sonic 06, and it was some of the worst. It was so bad to the point where I actually deleted the videos. Like, you will not find these videos. They are deleted, and they're just awful. Because again, it was before I knew how to edit. And so then I started just doing regular Let's Plays where it was just not much editing, just straight up us playing. And then I decided to just cut them up into funny moments back in 2018. And I did a couple video game reviews, a couple movie reviews, and here we are today. So that was the inception and the beginning of TAW. It started with me liking wrestling in the first place. Then me liking the Magnation, and my thing for I need to have some piece of this pie. Because, again, I am a very naturally creative person, and I need some kind of creative outlet. I have just piles of horrendous ideas from 2012 when I first thought, like, I can book a show. I know wrestling. I can book a show. Yeah, yeah, 2012. I mean, you were going to book a match with Cy and the Fox. You know nothing. 2012 Joshua, you know nothing. You are a stupid child. Oh, God. I'm actually embarrassed, not gonna lie. So then that went to me and the colonists bouncing ideas back and forth, and then I gradually improved my game, and here we are. And also, I also had my brother do commentary with me for the first year of TAW. But Alex, who I still have on the show, I have on the channel, and I'll do podcasts with him every once in a while. But it's predominantly just laid back, stupid playing video game stuff that I love. That's also part of my channel. Him as a commentator did not work because he does not like wrestling. It's not that he dislikes it; he just doesn't care. And if you don't care, then you're not going to be a good commentator unless you're like a guest for like a one-off. So me commentating the show by myself is usually how I roll. I tried to do one over Skype one time, but the video kept lagging, and the person I was with never spoke, so it was really just me the whole time, so it was kind of awkward. And that show's actually still up. You can go watch it. And it's the one, I believe, where it had the Inferno match between Slender Man and Carnage for the Hardcore title. And the 6-man tag team match where it was the Joker and 2 of the clowns. I believe it was Sweet Tooth and Pennywise. No, it was Sweet Tooth. It was Sweet Tooth and Pennywise versus Freddy Krueger and 2 other people, Liu Kang and Krillin, I think. Something like that. But yeah, TAW has been around for a while, and this is the 30th episode of the TAP, the Totally Awesome Podcast. And yeah, I'm not slowing down anytime soon. Not slowing down anytime soon. So, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a preview of what's going on now. Tomorrow, because, well, actually, this is going up. Today is Saturday. You are all listening to this on a Sunday. So today, as you are listening to this, I am recording matches for UCT Adrenaline as we speak. So I am working on Adrenaline right now. Or I'm asleep. Or I'm watching Grey's Anatomy. But I'm trying to work on UCT Adrenaline. Adrenaline will hopefully be up at some point this coming week. You will, of course, have the match card and the preview. And as a buffer between the match card and preview and the actual show, I'm going to have another video. It's probably going to be the second half of the Mario Kart 8 video that I did with Bradley, Mr. Perfect Fangstein, the King Baka, Ethan, and Jamie. It'll be the second half of that video, and then UCT Adrenaline. And after that is going to be TAW Femme Fatales, the next episode of XAW, TAW Action, and then the TAW Elevation pay-per-view. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to all of that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to this absolutely ridiculous and stupid 30th installment of the TAP podcast. I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to try to forget that I was going to have a match with Psy and the Fox. I'm scarred for life. I'm never going to forget that. I'm never going to live that down. I'm not going to let myself live that down, so I'll never try to do something like that again. So yeah. Thank you all for listening. Good night, everybody, and I'll see you guys on the 31st episode of the TAP podcast. Good night, everybody.